place where we can go and be alone. So come away with me, nobody has to know where we gonna go.
Canada, membre du réseau Star Alliance. Merci d'avoir voyagé avec nous. Nous espérons que votre vol a été agréable et nous souhaitons vous revoir très bientôt. 他们也在看到我。
Maintenant, ils veulent vendre leur truc aux États-Unis. Yes. No, give me a 10. The gin?
And a suggestion is just a nautic toy.
where we went. The sign is so small. Thank you. Small glass or big one? Small fine?
Are we going up? That's very unique. See the screen? Thank you.
forced coffee today. And it is Pigeon. Really good? Yeah.
That's not great.
An overhead bin. From this moment on, receiving and transmitting function on all of your electronic devices.